Alright guys, so we're hauling scrap metal today, buddy. Yeah. This is gonna be my fourth load so far with this scrapping job I got. I don't know, it's really the first one that I've ever had to make. It's like multiple trips. Actually more than multiple. Right now this is my fourth one to the scrap yard. But I've taken 2 or 3 home, which were fluorescent lights, and they were so I disassembled them, and right now I got me well, you guys can probably see that it's always stacked up. The scrapyard's really nice and close, so that makes it really super nice. Well, what I'm doing right now is I'm loading up for a scrap run tomorrow because I work second shift, so I'll be able to get up because I have to get up anyway early and go haul some scrap. But those are all ballasts out of fluorescent lights, and you haven't really been filled in within the past while, but I've been hauling scrap like mad. This is just a 20-gallon bucket of mainly receptacle boxes, some conduit, whatever. But anyhow, I've hauled so far over 4,500 pounds. I got every fluorescent light in the place, which you saw how many ballasts were in here. Now look at all these yet. This is a 5-gallon bucket. It's a 5-gallon bucket high. Look at all those ballasts. That's how many ballasts I got out of all these fluorescent lights. And these, there's a couple of digital ones that you cannot scrap, and I think there's a real old one with like PCBs or something like that. But they cannot have PCBs to be scrapped. And I'll show you too all the wire I got just from the ballasts to the where you do your fluorescent lights. You know, which it was probably about 40 lights or so, maybe 50. And these are door frames. This is all just the loom around the, or not the loom. They call it armor flex. But yeah. So, and there's one of the motors. I got these huge. That was one of the motors. It was out of a. There was like an old. There used to be a grill actually, like one of those big oven hoods. I actually got to scrap that whole thing too. And then on top of the roof, they got, you know, blowers and stuff like that to suck all that stuff out. Well, that one had like the type, kind of like a furnace blower type deal, only it was, you know, like this big around. Then there's another one that looks like a giant nipple that bolts on top of the actual roof, and I'll be getting that too. It's like all aluminum with this big, huge thing, like this friggin' big, and it's like a spiral thing. There's a lot of mass to it, as far as like for the motor to turn. But I'm just gonna end up scrapping the motors because they're 3-phase and we don't got nothing 3-phase. I'm gonna save the one that's kind of like a furnace blower, only a little bit bigger, and then you can put like a single phase, you know, like 120 motor on it or whatever. And but yeah, that's the one in the back there is off that one for the furnace, like the furnace type deal, and that one's a 3-phase. You can do 208 or 460 volt in that one. So yeah, buddy. Alright. So there's all the ballasts that I have that are no PCBs, or have no PCBs, and it's 12 across the bottom, and then there is 4 rows. And then I have 9, 3, 3, and 3, so it doesn't flop over, because if not it'd be like, hey, if you just stacked them all one way. And then I have 2 more rows of 12, and then these 8 on top. So that row that are like with 9 are spaced out just like that all the way across. You know, like that. So it ended up, I think, 89. I just did it in my head real fast, but 89 ballasts. And there was about 3 or 4 lights that only had 1 ballast. The rest had 2. Plus there's 3 of them over there that have PCBs or are digital. So yeah, so really 92. So There's roughly about 45 lights. Yeah, and I scrapped all the lights already. That was part of the big thing, but and I also got all these metal studs out of the metal walls because it was commercial, and all the hanging ceiling, the metal. Also, here's some of the. It's I believe 1/8 inch thick steel. I saved all of that because that's usable. Well, that isn't so much usable, but I got a couple sheets that are probably about 3 foot by. Well, I got one sheet that's real nice. It's probably about 3.5 foot by probably about 5 foot, and I got a couple smaller, like 2 by like 4s, and just kind of odd sizes of it. But it's stuff that you can use. I'm gonna save that also. It's the same thickness as that, so that's a couple 100 pounds that I saved. And I'm gonna save these door jambs, and you'll see in a later project what I'm gonna use these for. These are all pop cans. There's a couple. That bag right there and that bag right there are 55-gallon drum bags. Obviously that one's not as full, and then the rest are like the 20-gallon. And there's even a shelled corn feed sack. And then these, as you can see, sweet tea, were all in my bedroom. I used to collect them, and then Mom got pissed and threw them out. So, well, she got tired of looking at them all. But that's another one of those 20-gallon bags. But that's all. Just mainly Arizona tea, whether it be like the sweet tea or like the orange punch or whatever. And there's some monsters and what's not else in there. Yep. And to add on to this stuff's all aluminum. So all that little doesn't weigh much, but it's aluminum. This is all the copper out of that business there. There's my foot. So it's there's a 20-gallon tub, so you can see all the wire. This is all just from fluorescent lights that I pulled. And stuff. That's just running in between the ballasts and to the lights there. Well, here we are, Monday. It's about 8:20. Pug one's gonna be pissed because I'm scrapping a lawn chair, and pop cans, the wire loom, and then this all is I believe it's aluminum from that big old chucher there. And same as all that in there is all crumbled up, and there's my other motors down in there. You can see there's one, and then there's the other one in front of it underneath there. And yeah, so I'm actually gonna have to. I'm gonna have to leave the dehumidifier here, and then there's actually the big this part right here, and there's this big huge fan that goes inside there. So I'm just gonna leave that here and the dehumidifier here, just because I can't fit it on, and I'll come back for it. Yeah. Okay, this is what we got. Batteries. I had 2 batteries. They weigh 87 pounds. I had some wire, 9 pounds of wire, aluminum. I had 53 pounds of aluminum cans, 119 pounds of electric motors, and 272 pounds of ballast. And 48. I almost got $50 for all those ballasts. $30 for electric motors. I got $1 for a chair. $30 for my aluminum cans. $4.50 for the aluminum wire. I had some cast aluminum. I got $2. I got $17.40 for the batteries, and I got $35.20 for the mixed aluminum, which was like it was those big that big stuff, the big chucher pipe with 64 pounds of aluminum, and $35.20. So yeah, for a total of $167.96. Alright, so you can see that big turny thing in there. That's those fans inside, like the big nipple looking things inside of, or on top of like Burger King and shit like that. Those big aluminum looking nipple things. But that's the fan inside there in my bed. You can kind of see how big it is, but I'm just now pulling in the scrapyard, so yeah.